What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How was your day?
How was your week?
How was your life?
Going.
Hey. Happy day.
Yeah. Merry after Christmas, everyone.
Merry after Christmas.
Christmas is over. You're sad. I know you're sad.
I am sad.
It freaking came and went.
Yes, it went by so fast.
It
was here, and then it went.
Not
and
just Christmas, but the whole freaking year.
Yes.
Came and went.
Isn't it weird, though? Because this year and last year were the most challenging years for a lot of us.
Do you know why they went by so fast?
Because we owe.
That's why. That's why they go by even faster.
No, because there's even younger people who said that it went by really fast as well. So I don't accept that. But that is true. Once you hit 25, it's like the years just zoom by.
We owe. That's what happens.
But this Christmas was very special.
Yeah.
You know, it was just, even from the get-go, like with our neighbors, the neighborhood, it being so festive, so full of life, right?
Yeah.
People walking up and down the street, the kids have always played outside, but it was more this people from other neighborhoods coming over, to see, what's up with Santa Rita Ranch. And because everybody was talking about our neighborhood.
And not just like walking around and like seeing the neighbors out, but it's like meeting new neighbors because everybody's out now.
Yes.
It's like, oh, we live around the corner. We live down that block over there.
Yeah. We'll be walking down the street and one neighbor would be giving out popcorn and hot chocolate. Another neighbor will, have the kids hanging out watching a movie on their projector.
They have like a candy cane stand.
It's just beautiful. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for where we are today.
Yeah, me too.
Just with everything. And it took work. It took changing the way we think. It took changing what we did, how we thought about money. I mean, just all of it. And it's so beautiful and amazing to see it all unfolding. And even with our family, like our kids, and I can see all the work that we put into our parenting, into marriage, into our finances, just unfolding.
Yeah.
And they say that if you want things to change, you have to change.
That's what Daniel was talking about that.
You have to change the way you think, first of all. Right?
Yep.
Because thoughts are real and thoughts create our emotions. And when we get excited about something, that's when we put it into action, right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes you just get sick and tired of being sick and tired, like sick and tired of being broke, sick and tired of not knowing how to handle situations when it comes to parenting, sick and tired of arguing as a married couple and trying and looking for answers.
If you're looking for answers.
But that's what I'm saying.
Some people are sick and tired, but not sick and tired enough to look for answers.
Right. And sometimes it takes a lot. Like it really takes a lot. And when I start looking back at my life, and where my mom comes from and her struggles and her challenges, and then my grandmother, and then, just seeing it all unfold, like with even my sisters, like now I understand what they talk about when they talk about generational curses, in the Bible. They talk about that, in the Bible, but it works for everything, even if you're a non-believer. Because of how you are raised, because of the things that you were taught, many things we had to undo.
What would you consider a generational curse? Is it like poverty? Like just that poverty mentality?
Mindset. Yes, that. And I can tell you that the lack of loving oneself, like the women, what I've seen within our family have always looked for love outside of themselves, not having enough confidence in themselves to be by themselves, to live by themselves, to enjoy, to love themselves, just being complete, standing on your own and not feeling that you need a man in order to succeed.
Yeah. But as far as like a generational curse, like, is that, because to me, it seems like these things are things that are learned and taught and passed down. Yeah. Not so much a curse. It's just that the people that are teaching you don't know any better. Mm-hmm. And they're teaching you what they've been taught. Yeah. But what they've been taught was wrong.
Yeah. And you can see patterns. Like if you pay attention, and that's it. It's paying attention. It's being aware. It's being present. It's, wake up so that you can see these patterns. Yeah. Because you will, if you slow down, you will start to see the pattern over and over and over again. Just like, women that grow up in an abusive home, maybe their dad is abusive. And even without them knowing, they are attracting the same type of men, not knowing. You understand?
And rejecting the ones that are rightful or that would be good.
And there's so many, women or men that get into these relationships, they leave one to just get into another.
So, yeah. I was talking to somebody recently, the situation, but I was telling them, because it's like they were taught in this case just not to trust men. Right. Not to trust men because you will get cheated on. And it's not even just
or
men.
Betrayed.
It's not even just men. It's just like people
in general.
It's like but especially when it comes to relationships, when it comes to men, like, watch yourself, because you will get cheated on. You're going to get betrayed, and I had been around, like, I know the situation. So I was, talking to them, and I'm like, look, I had seen where the origin of this came from, because I was there with the grandparent, the mom, and I was like, I see the same thing here. And that was passed down. And then now it's being passed down another generation. And that's what I'm saying is like, and like you're saying, is like being aware and like seeing what's going on.
Right.
And I just explained to them that you can't, when you take that mentality right from the beginning, you're doomed to fail. I mean, and the thing is that it doesn't mean that you're not going to be betrayed. It doesn't mean that you may not get cheated on, because it could happen. But when you take that attitude right from the beginning, your relationships are going to suffer. Yeah,
you're not giving yourself a chance.
You're not giving anyone a chance.
Right.
And
I mean, we talked about our own personal situations being together, and me, having daddy issues, and how that came and played a role in our relationship.
And the other thing that I explained to them was that even though, like, this is kind of like what is being imprinted onto them, that came from their parents and the parents before them. But I'm like, look, it's not good, but I have no clue how your grandparents were raised. Like, there may be a good reason why they are the way they are. I mean, it doesn't make it right, but there may be a reason behind it. We just don't understand what it is. But once you understand that there's a different way, that this way of thinking isn't correct, then you can work on changing it.
Yeah. And so we've, like, we have undid, at least I have, and I continue to work on becoming better. And it's not even for me.
Yeah.
It's for Audrey, it's for Joey, it's for Michaela.
It's for the people around you.
Yes, to lead
around all of us,
by example. But what I've noticed is that because we do have a very good relationship and we have a very good life, it wasn't always this way, right? It's so important. What I found, it's so important to also talk about and really get into our struggle. You know, like really not just say, yeah, we had, you know, problems, you know, in our relationship. It's get into it. Like get into it, because when you make yourself real, you make yourself relatable.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And when they see, oh shit, really? Like you guys were there at one point? Yeah, I was talking about divorce in my journal. Like I was, you know, I was not happy, you know, and people don't, and when people just see the outer picture and you don't let them in, it gives them, it doesn't give them hope, or, you know what I'm saying? It's just becoming one with them. Well, it's getting them to see that we weren't always this way. It's just being real with them and saying these are the things that we had to go through in order to grow to be where we are today in our relationship, to be where we are today in parenting and our finances. And we're not perfect. We still have disagreements, right? We still slip up when the kids are coming at us. But it's like knowing now to do the right thing, to apologize when you're wrong.
We know there's a different way,
right?
We know there's a different way.
We had to learn that. Like I never thought that I had an issue apologizing, because I am the first to apologize with everyone else, but you, I guess, because there was one point where you felt that way, you know, but I didn't see it that way. What were we watching? Bill Burr. He was talking about his relationship.
Who we're going to go see soon in a couple days. I'm excited.
He was talking about it, and it was funny as shit, because I could totally relate, because he talks about his temper.
We were watching Paper Tiger on Netflix.
Yes, and you know how his temper is an issue, and you know his wife sounds similar to me.
He says something like at the very beginning when he starts talking about relationships, he's like, I've been married for a while now or whatever. He's like, and I love it. He's like, I love everything about it. He's like, but one thing that I figured out is that we're always working on me.
When he said that, I started laughing so hard.
He's like, my wife's this fucking work of art. That's,
right. You know, it's all perfect. Like just, you know, and here I am all fucked up.
No, he's like, and people look at her and they're like, wow, I wonder how she got to that and this and that. You know, like, wow, it's so great. And then he's like, I'm just like this old fucked up building with the scaffolding, like, are they going to tear this thing down and just start over again, or what's going to happen here?
But I remember you specifically getting upset because it's like, so this is my fault. Like this is like it. Yeah, I remember you saying like it's always me. Like it's always me.
So I'm the only one that got shit to work out.
You know, like it's only me that has to be sorry. It's only me. You know, and so and I didn't. And that's something too that I didn't want to place on you.
Is that an ego thing, do you think, at that time? Or
I felt so. I felt that it was.
For you? For me?
No. Well, because I don't
see you having that really anymore.
Yeah, like I mean, yeah, I haven't had it, I feel, for a long time. No. I feel that I haven't had Shigo. That's what I call my ego. Shigo.
I love when you guys make up your...
Let me make up my story, okay? Shut up. No.
It was my Shigo that was getting in the way.
But I don't think I was ever prideful. Do you ever felt that I was...
Well, that's what the ego is. No.
Maybe at the very beginning.
Yeah. But... No, it's been forever.
But I think I've broken her down, man. Yeah. Like it's good to have her.
So now we're still just in third person. So now we're just still working on me.
No, I still have to check her. You know, kidding. I mean, because the ego is not a bad thing, and that's the thing. Like Joey's like, ego's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, because when something's happening, right? Like when you're pursuing a goal or you're wanting something, like there's a place for the ego.
Yeah, it just there has to be a balance, like everything else.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because not having an ego is bad too. Like when you have zero self-confidence and zero, like, that shit's not good. You have to have some kind of self-confidence, and that comes from your ego. But when your head's so big, that's also bad, you know? Right.
It's almost like I remember you used to always be upset because I was so positive with the kids. Right? Like I was like, oh, it's so good. I'm so proud of you. You're trying, blah, blah, blah. And Miguel's like, are you kidding? they suck. Why are you telling them they're good when they suck?
But
like they're going to grow up thinking, that they're good at everything. But it's like there's a way to voice it without beating them down.
But I've never been somebody that would tell them that they suck.
Right.
I've never been. I might have told you, hey, and I don't think I would have told you that they suck either, because I don't like talking about my kids that way.
I was just saying.
But I would tell you, like, hey, they're not that good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll tell you like that. Like, hey, they're not that good, or they're not as good as they think they are.
Mm-hmm. So now, what I do, like when I'm going over homework or something with Joey, I'm like, hey, you're getting better. And you're getting better because you're studying, because you're trying.
Well, this is what happened, I think. It's just, we were learning. Like we were learning. Like that's our personalities. You're a very positive person. That's why we're Opposites Attract podcast, right? And when one of our kids would have a piece of paper on the floor and pick up a crayon with their toe and scribble on, it's like, oh my God, let's put this in a museum somewhere. And it's like, no. I'm just saying.
He's such an exaggerator.
I'm just saying, like when they're little, it's like it's anything that they could do. It's the fucking greatest thing on the planet. Or like they could just be starting or kicking the soccer ball for the first time, and it's like, wow, I think they're gonna join Major League Soccer. It's like, well, no, they fucking suck. Like they need to get to work, and it's just the beginning. And they're talking about like they're gonna get recruited into Major League Soccer too. And I'm like, fucking chill. Like this is reality where we live. Like yes, you're kicking the ball okay with one foot.
Yes.
Right? You're not a professional.
Yes.
And you got a long way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's been a lot of we've learned a lot. We've done a lot, and it's great to see.
Well, what I was going to say is that now there's that balance of it, right? Because before it might have been more positive when they were doing the sports and like, oh, you're so great and you did awesome and this and that. And it's like the participation trophy bullshit, right?
Right.
But then you realize participation trophies are no fucking good. And now that our daughter's older and she's playing softball and now they're doing jujitsu, well, guess what? No, you're not the best on the team. No, and guess what? You're not a natural at this and a natural at that. You're going to have to practice if you want to get good. You're not good. You can be good, but you got to practice. You know what I mean? It was a learning period of how to actually talk to them correctly and communicate with them correctly. Like, no, everything that you do is amazing. No.
Right.
No. And that's what we thought at first, is like, you want that positive reinforcement. That's not, it's like everything else. You need balance.
Yeah. And so, anything else you want to add to that?
Well, Christmas.
Yes, I was getting back to that.
Okay.
That's why I was asking. So, we went on a tangent. It was a good tangent.
Before we get back to Christmas, you were talking about like people and like what, like for us to get into some of the serious topics or subjects. And I think sometimes when we talk about stuff, it may not be exactly what everybody's going through at that point in their life that's listening or whatever. But if you guys ever, like, because we don't know, and if you have something that you guys want to know about specifically, or if we've ever dealt with this situation or whatever, give us a call, 480-912-5128, or you can send us a message, get a hold of us. However, you can email us at oppositepod@gmail.com, or any of our social media. You can find us. You can go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Should we just do it now?
That's good.
Now, but yeah, just get a hold of us. And if you send us a question, we'll answer it on the show.
Yeah. And so we were talking about, I was talking about how great this year is, even though we're going through
some crazy stuff,
a lot of challenges in the world. This year, it seems like we had more family gathering. I started to get to know my older sister. We're 7 years apart, and I didn't grow up with her. She moved out when she was, I think, 15, ended up having a baby at a young age.
What's the difference in age?
7 years.
7.
And so I never really got to know her, and because of the big gap. And so I decided, and there were some situations where it was just rocky.
Yeah. Growing up.
The way we think, the way we are, we're different.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when there is a huge difference or age gap, it's hard to be able to relate.
Yeah.
And so I've taken the initiative over and over again to really get to know her. And finally the door was open. And so, we started talking. We had a sister day where we went out and had a good time. But the one thing, like if you are listening and you have a sister or brother and you're like, oh yeah, I can totally relate. And maybe there's, some challenges because of the age gap and other things that maybe have gotten in between the relationship. It's letting go of the ego. I can tell you, letting go of the ego, letting go of the pride, and coming forth with your truth self. And what I mean by that is, it's like put all the bullshit aside, right? Yeah. Like put all the bullshit aside and come at it from that point of view.
Yeah.
And I feel now that she has accepted the invitation to get to know me. Like things have been really good.
That's cool.
We've been talking, keeping in contact, and I feel that, this sister date has to be ongoing.
Yeah.
It just can't be, oh, well, we had one. Oh, we're good. No, it has to be ongoing. It's like I need to call her and set up another sister date.
Yeah. And build the relationship.
And start to build the relationship. But this year, you've seen it yourself.
Yeah, it's been cool.
My mom's too. We had everyone. It was the first time ever that I was with my sister, my brother, my mom, and their children.
Yeah.
And my niece.
Yeah.
And my nephew.
Yeah,
it was
cool.
so fun. We had such a good time. And it felt so good to have everyone around.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some differences. This is the thing, I'm so proud of my sister because she's been free of alcohol and free of smoking. She used to smoke cigarettes, and they say cigarettes is harder to quit than heroin.
Yeah.
She's been clean, I think, for 16 months. And when it comes to the holidays,
yeah, it's tough.
Everyone wants to drink, right?
Yeah.
We have tons of smokers in our family. So to be around those individuals that are smoking and drinking.
Not everybody's sensitive to the situation either.
Right. Yes. And that's what I was going to talk about. It's like, you don't know their struggles. Like you don't know if you are not a smoker, or someone who likes to drink or whatever, you really don't understand the challenge behind that.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can you even judge? Like, here, just have one drink. Here, just have one cigarette.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a secret, man. Like, everybody knows what it, not knows firsthand, but they know people, and they know what it's like, at least theoretically, like what it's like to struggle with something. Mm-hmm. Like they know if you haven't had to deal with it, somebody close by that's dealt with some kind of struggle like that.
Right.
And it's just having a little empathy for them.
Right. And respect. And
yeah,
respect.
That's pretty much what it comes down to. Yeah.
So I'm super proud of her. And
no, that's awesome.
She has, she's always been very strong.
Yeah.
When she makes a decision, and for her to be around everybody who's smoking and drinking, and to be there and be present and hanging out, having a good time says a lot.
Yeah, that was good.
But
there was something that you were talking about, how you and your sister grew up separately. I don't think I've talked about it on the podcast, but it's something we've talked about and that I've thought about. But like with my brothers and sister, like we have an age gap like that. Actually, our gap is a little bit bigger between, the oldest, well, me and the next brother.
But you helped raise them, like you were.
Yeah. No, it's not. But at the same time, they also went with their mom, and I ended up leaving, to go live with my mom for a couple of years before I finishing up high school. But I was kind of thinking that it's crazy because we have these people in our lives that are so close to us that we love so much. And sometimes, and we think that we know them, and we do, and we know them better than most people probably. But there's just parts of their life that they have a completely separate life from us.
Yes.
You know, like my brothers and sister. You know, like I was thinking, like I lived the life that I grew up, but they didn't see half the shit that I saw.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I saw some crazy fucking shit growing up. But then at the same time, I only lived with them up to a certain point. And once they were, you know, a few years old and they left with their mom, I had my life with my dad. And yes, we got together, but they had their life with their mom and their stepdad.
Right.
You know, and that's a completely different life. And it was something that I never really thought about. Like, yeah, we're family. Yeah, we know each other. Yeah, we love each other. But there's parts where we're just not even, like, we weren't, it was just a separate life almost.
Yep.
Right? It's crazy.
And I think I brought that up at one point. It's like you can live in the same household.
Yeah.
You can live in the same household and have different experiences.
I'm just saying, like, I got the 2 brothers and a sister, and every single one of us has a completely different life.
Right. When it comes to family, and we have a lot of friends that we consider family as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to family, there's so much division. You know, because of the differences, because, you know, sometimes it has to do with politics. Sometimes it has to do with your beliefs. Sometimes it has to do with the way you think or the way you dress. Like, it's just like, at the end of the day, all we have is each other.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy because, like you said, I mean, for somebody that thinks kind of the way I see things, you know, I've told you before, like, for me, it's not hard to figure out things that people have made up. And a lot of these things that people make up are things that divide people. Like, if you want to look at the things that are true, it's like we were living in a cave not that long ago. So everything that you see when you look around, the thoughts and the rules and this and that, it's somebody made that up. And we're allowing the things that people make up to drive a wedge in the one thing that is true, is people and us. You know, it's freaking crazy.
And love.
That's what that's what it's all about.
It's about loving each other, accepting each other. You know, like in the book, reading Awakening Family, which I absolutely love. Oh my goodness. I'm on a roll. Like, I'm reading Conscious Parenting, Awakening Family, just all of it. And it talks about acceptance.
Yeah.
Acceptance. You know, like, I accept that I am imperfect. You know, I accept that I'm not the best parent. You know, it's just accepting your imperfections and loving, having self-love, because it's so easy for us to love to love others, right?
Yeah.
And I talk to Joey about this all the time because he is such a kind, loving boy. And Audrey too. Like, we are all, like, we love others. Yeah. Some of us, it comes easily. Others you need to work on. No. But it's like loving each other's imperfections. You know, but when it's something that needs, you know, say we are in a relationship, but I'm not going to accept mental abuse. I'm not going to accept physical abuse. Right?
Yeah.
But with you, you know, you were temperamental. You know, where not that you would take it out on me or the kids, but it was just more you had a short fuse.
Yeah.
And I loved you even when you were at that point.
Yeah.
But what I did when I found out what made it worse, me wanting to fix it now when you needed time to yourself to gather your thoughts, When I found out that you needed that time, I gave you that time. When I started to recognize ways where I can become better, instead of looking at your faults, your shortcomings, I started looking within. What can I do to help? What can I do to help?
Yeah.
And when we figured that out together, because that's another thing that we had to figure out together, I had to respect where you were at. And when I started respecting where you were at, you started to recognize your own temper.
Yeah.
And not only that, because you were present with Joey, because you were a father that was a present father.
Yeah. I care.
You started to see that in Joey.
It's like that Bill Burr comedy special, right?
And you started to look in the mirror. You started to look inward.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. And I did. And you would hate it when I was like, dude, really? Is it that serious? Like, what? Right? But that would only make it worse. That would only make it worse.
Didn't we? We just had a conversation about something recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was something.
It was something in the car again.
I'm like, hey.
It was something in the car. Because it's always the car, man. That's why I'm like.
No, it's not always a car.
Somebody got in front of you.
No,
somebody did something.
Talking shit.
Road rage.
It wasn't.
No. It was something, but that's what I'm saying. We're not perfect.
No,
even during that time.
Even during that, at that time, I mean, this is recently within the last week.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but yes.
Remind you.
Yes.
I don't know if it's reminding you again, but it's like, hey, like, yes. I got worked up for a second. Mm-hmm. And it's gone. Like, it's fucking fine. Right. That's allowed. I'm allowed to do that.
Right.
I'm not allowed to get worked up and slap somebody, but I can get worked up every once in a while. That's not, I'm not a psychopath because of it, you know?
See, but then again, it's great that we're not perfect.
Yeah.
I slip up, you slip up, but it's like, okay, well, shit. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah,
kind of deal. And you're aware now.
Yeah.
So it's easier to handle now versus us getting upset with each other and the whole day going by.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just, I forgot what I was saying because you brought that up. But
it's funny.
It's accepting. That's what I'm saying. Like once we found out, once I found out how you felt, then I had to give you that respect and give you time. And then that's when we would come together and talk about it and work things out.
Yeah.
But in order to get there, we had to
a lot of bumps.
We had to communicate.
Yeah.
From respect and from love. Because there's other ways to communicate, right?
Yeah.
I can yell at you, which is not the right way to communicate.
That doesn't work out well.
I could walk out on you.
Yeah.
Forget, I don't want to talk about it. Slam the door and be gone. And then come back later.
Not a bad thing. Sometimes that's not a bad thing. Yelling is probably never a good thing. Mm-hmm. Leaving might not be a bad thing sometimes if you need to fucking just get away from the situation and get your shit together.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are certain, and we've done all of the above. I mean, with the exception of like slapping each other around and stuff.
But you have to start, somewhere.
And we've never really said like hurtful things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we've never cussed to each other.
Yeah.
Or at each other.
It's funny. You were talking about the temper, and Bill Burr was talking about in his special. You guys got to check it out. It's called Paper Tiger on Netflix. But he's like, I don't know if his daughter was like 2 or 3 years old. He's like, my daughter's like 2 or 3 years old, and she still hasn't met the real me. He's like, every once in a while I flip out, and he's like, whoa, daddy almost lost it there for a second.
Yeah. It's funny.
He's like, I got to get this shit in order, man.
And the way I see things too, like with Adriana and Joey and the way our relationship is and how we are open with each other in front of the kids see us apologizing to each other. We apologize to the kids. Audrey one day may get married and Joey may get married, and they're going to hopefully want what we have.
Yeah.
The other day, Michaela, she's here, my stepdaughter, Miguel's, daughter, and she doesn't come around much. She's up there in age, and she's wanting to come around more often, which is great.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know us the way Joey and Audrey knows us. It's a long distance. She lives in Virginia, and
she's always lived.
We haven't had much time with her. But this time around, there's been so many moments because we are working on, our relationship and bonding.
Yeah.
And it was her. You took her to the store and you opened her door for her.
Yeah.
And when she went into the store, you got the door for her, and she asked you, what did she ask you?
I don't know if it's like, why did I open the door for her?
Right.
I'm like, because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it for you still today after 13 years.
And she's
I do it for our daughter when we're going out places,
And her response is, well, that.
And I would do it I'll do it for my mom if it's just me and my mom, we're going somewhere. I mean,
and she's like, well, that doesn't happen to me, but it's like, well, it's part of her that she's seeing this in you.
Yeah.
Do you see? And Audrey was like confused when she said that.
She's like, Dad does that all the time.
Yeah. That's what gentlemen do.
Yeah.
And that's just something that you're leading by example.
But like I said, these are all stories that we made up. So from now on, I want you opening my damn door. You think they didn't even have doors on caves?
Hey,
so, no, I'm just kidding.
I passed the test.
You did.
Remember that?
What's that? Which one?
I don't know. It was I had to unlock your door,
you had
and
to unlock
then there
door?
was something.
That's from
a movie?
A Bronx Tale. A Bronx Tale.
Tale?
It's an old movie. It's a great movie. I think, what is it? Robert De Niro's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the test back in the day when you didn't have the clicker to unlock the doors or the app or whatever the hell.
All right.
And you would the man would go to the passenger side and open the door for his date or his girlfriend or whatever.
Yes.
But his door was locked because first he would go to her door.
Uh-huh.
And when he lets her in and closes the door, in the story, the dad was telling the son, he's like, this is what you need to do. You open her door, let her in, close the door. If she doesn't reach across and unlock your door, she's not the one for you.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
So you're being a gentleman by opening her door, but if she doesn't reach across and unlock your door, she's not the one for you.
Yeah. I remember
it's
that.
Pretty good.
Yes.
So you know what Michaela started doing?
What?
She'll pop my door open from the other side.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
Thank you.
That's so good. But so we went to church. I allowed you to sleep in.
Yeah, I had
Joey,
to work on the podcast
and so
a little bit.
it was Adriana, Michaela, and myself. And we, it's just been so good with her. We are all sitting in the front. And she's like, we're in the front. I'm like, I like sitting in the front. you know me.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of stuff to talk about. And hopefully in the future we can get into some of it. I mean, just out of respect for my daughter mostly. That's why I don't get into a lot of the stuff that goes on. But as we see it appropriate, we can kind of mention some of the things, and some of the things come out and you guys may not even realize it, but
but she, so we are, we're worshiping and we're singing, and, she's in the middle and Audrey and I are on her side, and she just hugs both of us. We all come together and I'm hugging her and just praying for the situation, praying for everything, and I start to, tear up because I'm whenever I worship, I'm always in gratitude. Like I get into the state of gratitude where joy is just filling my soul. Like it's just feeling me, and I allow myself to go there. And it's almost in like a state of meditating.
Mm-hmm.
When you take yourself to that place and you're just so thankful for the air in your lungs.
Yeah.
For your life, just to be living, just to be there in that moment with, those two girls next to me and feeling the love that we have in our home and that surrounds us. And I'm in that state of mind. And, I start to tear up, and, Kayla looks over at me and she's like, oh, she's like, you're crying, and they ask if, we want to go to the altar, and pray in front. And so Kayla's like, let's go. So we all go, and we're just hugged up, singing together, being together. And it's those moments in life that you can never, that's what life is about.
Yeah.
It's building those memories that will forever last no matter what. Those are the moments that count. Those are the moments that when I'm no longer here, that they will always remember. And those are the moments that I live for every day.
Yeah. We got a lot of opportunities, right?
Yeah.
A lot of learning experiences, a lot of learning opportunities
and
that we're still going to have to come up to and deal with and learn from.
And
it's okay.
What's been a life challenge for me is knowing that not everyone is my assignment.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen some of that with you.
And
I have to talk to you about that sometimes. I know we talk about that.
Yes. Yeah. Because there's so many people that are hurting.
And you want to help everybody. Not everybody wants help.
Right. Though. And it's like, I have the answer. I feel like God's given me the answer. And that's why I want to become a life coach, because I feel that I have the answer. I feel that I can teach people how to find their inner joy, to find their inner peace, and to find and to help them to love themselves. And before, when people used to tell me that, you love hard, you have so much empathy for other people that it can be a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and that's something that I'm working on, but it because I feel that I know that I have the answers to help other people just to be happy with themselves and where they are right now. That it's hard for me when it's someone that's very close to me and I see them struggling and I see where they're at. It's hard to not.
I think the difference is that other people, when you run into them, when you're talking to them, if they start expressing some interest, if they don't express interest, then it's whatever it is in whatever, in fixing or changing whatever you're trying to help them with.
Well, I normally don't offer anything until they open up to me.
Well, I'm saying if they open up to you, but their response is just I don't know, whatever. It's not going to go down that path.
Yeah. Well, sometimes people just want to be heard. People don't want advice.
Yeah. But these are moments that happen naturally with other people.
Oh,
and I think you're trying to force these moments with people that aren't trying to have these moments with you. You know what I mean? The whole, I don't know, kind of like the generational curses thing. When you meet somebody and you have this moment with them, you're probably meeting and talking to somebody that's been going through this stuff, that's been dealing with it, that's been thinking about it. And now they meet you, and now it's getting the wheels turning even more. Maybe other people, if you're trying to, if they're not in that mindset where they're thinking about it, they don't want that talk. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, normally I don't have the talk unless they ask.
That's what I'm saying. The talk doesn't even come up with, we want that talk for people in our family sometimes, but they don't want that talk.
They're not there yet.
No.
Yeah. Or they may. Yeah.
Before we move on.
No, I want to share my story. No.
In a minute. But if you guys are enjoying the podcast, thank you guys for being with us over this last year. We're going on 3 years of podcasting, which we couldn't do without you guys. So thank you very much. Make sure you guys go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. You guys can follow us there. All of our social media is there. You can watch the podcast there. You can listen to it there. And when you go to our website, whether on your phone or on the computer, you'll see the support the show tab if you hit the little menu button. And when you click on that, that'll take you to our Amazon link. And anything that you purchase through that link doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps out the show. We get a couple pennies whenever you guys buy something through our link on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And you'll also see a link to Trust Inc. And Trust Inc. is?
We are a nationwide mobile notary and signing agency. So if you are in the middle of selling, purchasing, or refinancing your home, you can request Trust Inc. to be your signing agency.
And you can go to Trust Inc. directly by going to trustinkusa.com. And you can find our merch on Amazon. I don't think we've talked about that in the last couple times. But if you guys search Opposites Attract Podcast on Amazon, you'll be able to find our T-shirts. You can find the pop sockets for the back of the phone. I don't know what's up with the phone cases. They were unavailable a couple days ago when I checked. But there's some T-shirts on there. There's a little pop sockets that, to get a better grip on the phone. Mm-hmm. And you can find those on Amazon by searching Opposites Attract Podcast. We're also affiliates with Pinwheel, which is the best smartphone for kids that's available out there. They don't have access to social media. They don't have access to the internet. They can't get into all the bad things that are out there. All the apps that they have available through their proprietary app store are apps that have been picked by parents, therapists, counselors, people that have the kids' best interest in mind. It's going to make the phone a tool to make kids more productive, to teach them things that they're supposed to be learning, and it doesn't give them access to all the bad things that are out there. But if you guys would like 10% off of a Pinwheel phone, you guys can go to pinwheel.com and use promo code OAP10, all in caps, all together, OAPTEN, and that'll give you 10% off of a Pinwheel phone.
Yes, yes. And if you would like to buy us a coffee, you can go to
buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod. And it's pretty much you guys can buy us like a virtual coffee. If we met you guys in person and we were at a bar or at a coffee shop or whatever, we'd love to buy you a drink or buy you a coffee and we can catch up and talk. Yeah. And if you guys would like to buy us a coffee, you guys can do that there at buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod.
Yes, yes.
So you were saying something. Was there something you wanted to get into?
Yes. So have you ever had a moment where something happened, or maybe that was really strange, maybe a coincidence, or at least you would say a coincidence? Like, I don't know, like maybe you thought of a horse and a horse showed up. No, I don't know. I call it God's wink.
Yeah,
but I don't know if
I know you do. A coincidence, dude. That the one that you're about to bring up is pretty fucking weird. Like, I haven't had something like that happen. Yeah, it's just that one was weird.
So things
I can't think of anything else like that.
Happened to me like this.
Sonja tells me about these crazy ass things that, like, well, to me, sometimes I know that you have this thing with connecting with people. Like you have a way where when you're in front of people, they feel your energy, they feel your vibe, they're super comfortable talking to you, and they will tell you the deepest, darkest shit that's happening in their lives. And I'm just like, I don't know how people open up to you like that. It's fucking crazy.
Or there's times where I have a message for them.
That kind of stuff too. Yeah. And a lot of times I'm just like, well, that's a coin. And I've never been there for any of the stuff. I'm like, I don't know.
That's what I love about this. This is kind of cool because you were actually there. So I was Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
And I look over my shoulder and I recognize this woman that I went to school with. And the last time I saw her was freshman year. And I remembered her name, which is very crazy. For those of you that know me, know that I suck when it comes to remembering names. And that's something that I'm always working on. But I remembered her name. And so it was so crazy. And we were chit-chatting. And when I came home, I told Miguel, I'm like, hey, guess what? I'm like, I ran into an old friend that I haven't seen, since freshman year. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it was really, really cool. And so we were talking about it. And then, Adriana, had an appointment. We're sitting there.
We're just sitting there
talking.
In the waiting room.
Miguel's with me. And we're in the waiting room. And someone comes in, but we're so into the conversation that we're having that I don't even bother looking up. So they sit across from us, and all of a sudden I hear her say Sonja, and I look up, and it's my friend that I ran into at the mall, and she's with her husband and her daughter.
So crazy. You know, and like we're sitting
and
there.
And I had just told Miguel like this.
Yeah. And
the same day, by the way.
We're
same
sitting,
day.
We're sitting there and just, I would like at first you're like, oh, I'm like, where do you know her from? And you're like, that's who I was talking to you about earlier today.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, your friend that you haven't seen in like 20 something years, and now we're run into her at like some random office. I was like, that's freaking weird.
Right?
That's weird.
And so me, automatically, I'm thinking, okay, we exchanged numbers, and I'm like, I need to call her. There's something here. Automatically, I'm thinking, okay, well, God, for me, everyone that comes into our life is for a season, a reason, or a lesson. So now my job is to figure it out. Okay, what does this mean? Because it's just, I know there has to be something there. At least that's how I feel. You know, whether she's here to teach me something, or I'm here to be for her, or be here for her. There's just something there.
That was pretty cool. That was nuts. Like you were telling me, I'm like, what? Like she's the one you were talking about, and then
her husband was the same way, because she told her husband, this is my friend that I told you that I hadn't seen for years that I ran into at the mall, and he looks at her like, what? Like both of you are just like, what?
And then he was nice. He went and left us a message on iTunes. He sent us left us a review on iTunes, checking out the podcast.
That's awesome. Did you respond to that?
I don't think I can respond on iTunes. But we're shouting them out right here, right now. Thank you for the review. And if you guys can leave us a review wherever you're at, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, or whatever, it helps out the show. But huge shout out. Thank you.
And subscribe to our YouTube channel as well.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. YouTube,
we got
TikTok.
some
TikTok. We're putting up some stuff on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, which are kind of taking off, I guess. I don't know.
Yes. We see.
Crazy.
There's just so much when it comes to social media marketing. There's so much, and with us being audio and video, there's so much more involved. Like it's really time consuming.
It is. It's okay.
You know, it's time consuming. It's okay, but it is time consuming. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of work. People that are listening to this may want to be like, well, hey, you know, what's all involved with that? That's a whole different episode.
It just depends. But look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're going to do, it's going to take work. Whatever anything that's worth fucking anything is going to take work. And there's no fucking way around it. Right. There's no shortcuts.
You just got to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about, and, you know, for 2022, it's like, you know, that's something that we need to get into, you know, especially when it comes to goals, you know, our last year's goals, you know, I think that for the most, there's so much new shit that we started.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we have.
This year, and that we're working on, and so much that we need to get better at. It's just forever ongoing. When you are focused on becoming a better you, it's always going to be ongoing. And at times it's going to be frustrating as well, because there's times where you're going to be like, what the fuck? Like, it's one thing after another, after another, after another. You know, and there's times where you do need to disconnect. But
you know what? You will eventually figure it out. It may be overwhelming at first, but if you take it little by little, and I can tell you, I can give you a real life example that's happening to me right now, and that's with work. When I first signed up for work, and if you guys go back to the beginning, you know, if you go back a couple years, right around this time, 2 years ago during this podcast, I'm sure I was talking about it. Like, it was one of those feelings where, what the hell did I get myself into? I decided to take a different path in my career. Mm-hmm. And now I'm in, like, it's still related, obviously, but it's just different now.
Yeah, you're traveling
and
now.
I'm like, but it's the uncertainty. It's something new. It's anxiety. Ugh. Like, what did I get myself into? I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Am I ever going to figure this shit out?
Right.
And in the beginning, it's just like any problem. You're in the fucking eye of the hurricane,
Right.
and you can't see your way out. You're like, damn, I really fucked up this time. And then little by little, you know, I'm still not where I need to be, but I'm a lot more comfortable now than I was when I first started.
Right.
You know, and that's just the way it goes. That's the way it goes with everything.
Right.
You know, it's just little by little. It may be overwhelming, but just take a step. And some people get paralyzed by that shit, and they don't take any steps.
Yes.
And that's the thing is, one thing that I've noticed is you have to start. Sometimes starting is the most important thing you can do. It's just stop fucking talking, stop fucking thinking, and just start doing something. And then what's the next thing? And what's the next thing? And then you'll look up things along the way and you'll figure out some stuff along the way. But just fucking start. Send that first email. Just click send. Stop fucking reading it. Like I do that shit 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I could have sent out 10 more by now.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just
well, I was
you're gonna make mistakes no matter what.
Right. I was thinking about because and I've been saying this forever. Like I know there's a book in my future, right? Yeah. I talk about it. I started writing actually on my laptop, and it's called My Life Story because I didn't know what the hell to name it. But I started writing. You would fall asleep, and I started writing, and then I just stopped. Yeah. And then I started with the parenting series, and I was writing, got really, really into it, and then stopped. And then for this Christmas, you were asking me, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know what I want. Like, there's nothing that I really, really want. Like, I feel that I have everything
that you need.
Yes.
And you do.
And more. And you brought up a new laptop because mine is old as shit. You know, and I told you, I was like, no, that's money, you know, that we could do something else with.
Are you telling me now that you want a laptop?
Well, it's just yesterday. I was just like thinking, maybe you should.
Now you got to wait till next Christmas.
Because maybe, you know, I'll write with my old laptop. I don't care.
I know.
But, you know, that's what I was thinking, because I do enjoy writing, and I enjoy writing more when it comes to pencil and paper.
Okay.
The act of just doing it. But then when I started doing the parenting series, I did pretty good on the laptop.
No.
You know, but it's just, it's taking that step and just doing it on a regular basis. And
Jocko, I remember listening to Jocko talking about it, and it's one of those things, and it's not.
Well, I bought my mom that book because my mom has always talked about writing a book.
Well, Bill talked about it. It's one of those things like artist inspiration. Like sometimes people feel like, well, I got to feel inspired and then I'll do it. And it's like, well, no, you need to sit down every day for an hour or whatever you decide you're going to do, whatever fits into your schedule. But it is like, if I'm not feeling inspired, grab a cup of coffee, fucking sit down, pick up that pen. And if nothing comes out, nothing comes out. But fucking sit there and do it every single day. And then, you know, and sometimes the things that you didn't think were going to, like, I've had this writing songs. Like there's things that I don't think is going to be any good, or I write it in a rush. And then when I go back and look at it, I can tweak it and do something to it and it comes out better. Yeah. You know, it's just, but it's not like, oh, I'm going to wait till I'm feeling it and then I do it.
Right.
You just got to be consistent with it. That's why I'm saying, like, anything that's worth anything is going to take discipline and it's going to take work.
You know how you say we old?
I'm pretty sure we both said it. We old. That was you. You were in there too. It's not just me. We old. I think it's more you than me.
You know, the older you get, the more you realize how short life is.
Yeah.
And we've heard this many times before. Like, the richest place in the world is a graveyard.
It's full of ideas, full of everybody's thoughts that they never did anything with.
Books that were never written, inventions that were never invented.
Yeah.
And when I look at my life, I think about those things that I would regret if I didn't do them. You know? Yeah. And I think that writing the book is one of them.
If you didn't get it out.
But that is linked to my transitional coaching. Like
Nice.
those two go hand in hand.
Perfect.
But it's like, what am I waiting for? Like, why? Like, I started doing research, and then I even got you on board, which I thought that was going to take a lot to get you on board.
What, like coaching research and all that?
Just going to the certifications because of the cost and all of that. But then I got you on board.
Why you think that?
But then I got you on board.
Did it take you much to get me on board?
No, because and I think it's just like
I think that's your perception of me.
No, it's the lies. Yeah, it's yes, that too. And you know why. Anyways, but I think it's the fear of not following through with it. It's the fear of failure. It's the fear of
it is scary.
And I know that it's people's lives.
Let me tell you something. I think I know what you're talking about. It's like doing this and then still nothing happens or something. Is that what you're worried about?
No,
or something? The fear of failure or
it's just, well, look at Trust Inc.
Okay.
Right? Like we started Trust Inc. in 2018 and it's been really good.
Yeah.
Right? When I put energy into something, normally it turns into something. Do you see this? Like it normally works.
Yeah.
When I put my mind into something. What was that?
What was what?
What was that? Is that a second beer?
What was what?
Within an hour? No, I'm putting you on blast. Anyways, it's because coaching to me is something that is I'm with other people's emotions in their lives. And though it excites me, it scares me.
You have a responsibility
at the same time. And it's not knowing what the hell, where to start. Like, I know where the start is. I know it's
love.
I know who, I know where I want to go.
Yeah.
I know whose course I want to take. And it's an online course, which does not excite me.
Yeah.
Right? I want someone who's going to be with me, someone who, not hold my hand,
you want a friend.
but I want a friend.
I want a friend. I want to buy a friend
in me. No.
Look, I'm not looking for a coach. I'm looking for a friend.
But it's just knowing that, I have people's lives at hand, and I've done coaching for free. And those people that I've helped I've talked to them about it, and they're like, I would hire you.
I think you're holding yourself back then. You got to get on it.
But I feel like in order to get on it, I need to figure out where this fear is coming from. Like, I need to let that go, but I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what that thing is that's anchoring me down. So it's like, in order for me to be a coach 100%, like be there, I need to let go of this fear, whatever this fear is, but it's trying to figure out what that fear is.
Yeah. I don't know.
But no, it's something that I need.
You got to work
I can, yes, but it's taking time to peel back the layers to get to the core of what it is. So I still feel that there's more work that needs to be done within me in order to be there for my clients. Gotcha. There you go.
Okay.
Whether it's finding a coach or going and doing whatever,
ayahuasca.
The ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Like that keeps coming to me. Like ayahuasca.
Sonja wants to do a jungle ritual.
It's still something that comes to me. So I feel that it's something that I should do.
Yeah. No, I think it's definitely worth looking into. And there's a lot of people that have really good results with it, with dealing with trauma and stuff.
Hey, listeners, if you've happened to go through that process, we would love to hear from you. Heck yeah.
A personal experience or anything.
For sure.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But now that you kind of bring that stuff up, before we get out of here, now, like, this is the last show of the year, you know? So what is something that stood out to you from last year that you think?
Man, I think it's just the whole parenting. It's bonding. It was the parent bond, just with Audrey, I think, just focusing on becoming building that relationship and really clearing my past trauma. Is that what you're talking about? Like what has...
Just something that stands out to you from the past year.
Like I feel so good with that part of me becoming and focusing on becoming a better parent for our kids.
There's like different themes to the years. Like there was one year, I think that for me also is like this year we've had some challenges with Audrey. We've had a lot of great successes with Audrey. We've learned a lot. I think this year we really
focused on parenting.
Focused on being mindful.
Yes.
Like just mindful parents, mindful around people, like thinking
partners.
Yeah, mindful partner, just all of that. Where I think maybe a couple of years ago, it was more, at least in my part, it was more like fucking discipline and hardcore shit. And it's like,
we should listen to our past episodes.
Just different. You know, people change, right?
It would be cool because we've been podcasting now for 3 years, right? Going on?
Yeah. April will be 3 years. So what is something that you would like to change for next year? Or something that you're going to do differently next year that you can think of?
I don't know if I would say differently, but I would say just...
It doesn't have to be a bad thing.
I want to figure out what's holding me back, what that fear stems from. Okay. So I think it's working on self.
Yeah.
And I want to start taking the steps necessary for coaching, and also with this podcast, like figuring it out, whether that means hiring a coach or what the hell, but just, you know, and maybe it's just someone telling us, you know what, you guys are doing, you're on the right track. Well, because it's like we're doing this blindly because we don't know someone who started a podcast without a following. Because most people, they'll be motivational speak. Yeah, like they'll have a following already, and then they start a podcast and boom, it blows up. We started from nothing.
And we're like, hey, you guys want to listen to us?
Right. And it's like, are we doing something wrong? Are we doing something right? Are we on the right track? Is there something that we should be doing more of? Should we hire somebody to be doing? Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's that. It's just knowing what we're doing.
Yeah. So one thing that I want to do for next year is one of them is hiring a couple coaches for different things. Maybe for your coaching, for my crypto, for the podcast, you know, different things to kind of help start pushing us to different levels and different things, which that I'm super excited about. One thing that I want to do that I don't know if anybody listening, I'm sure, you know, there's somebody that probably goes through some of this stuff, but I've noticed recently, and it's happened in the past, but I waste a lot of time looking at things or checking out shit that doesn't matter. There's things that I love, things that I'm passionate about, and they really don't matter. Like fighting, like football, but they bring me joy. I like why
you need some of that. You need a balance.
You definitely do. And I'm not saying, you know what, fucking UFC's out. I'm not watching any more jiu-jitsu matches. I'm not doing any of this. No. But I don't have to be on top of the fucking current news of what the UFC lightweight champ has to say or what he put in his fucking cereal.
Okay, I agree.
Because I could use that for how do I increase, listener retention on my podcast, or how do I, whatever.
Right.
I can still watch every single one of the fights.
So it's being mindful with your time.
I could watch every single one of the football games. Not every single one from every 32 teams, but I can watch every game from my team. That's not going to fucking destroy my business or my life or anything. But I don't have to, did Aaron Rodgers have regular bowel movements this week? Like, that doesn't matter.
You know what I mean? You're looking up that stuff.
No, I'm just as an extreme. But some people get super into some shit that doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you do need the distractions, but you don't need that much of a distraction.
Right.
You know, so I think that's one thing that I'm going to start. And I can guarantee you it's not going to be easy because they are good at the algorithms. They're good at that shit. They know how to hook you. So it's just going to be being mindful. Maybe click on it 30 seconds in. I'll be like, oh, fuck, I did it again. And then turn it off and something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm going to try to work on.
That's something that social media will do to you.
Yep. What is something that you hope would change in the world for the next year?
Oh, man. I talk about it all the time. This is not something that's going to change.
It's so sad.
It's just not, it's just, the whole division and just loving each other. It's just not going to happen. I mean, supporting each other, loving each other, being kind to each other. You guys turn off the freaking news. Just turn off the news and tune into yourself. Like, just turn it off. Turn it off and stop the hate. I don't know if it's going to change. I think it's going to change for some people, but I just wish like people would wake up and understand and see, not just from the things that your team is saying or disregarding everything that the other team is saying or whatever, and just being mindful of what's being done to us and what we need to do to keep ourselves safe, to keep our family safe, to keep the people around us safe, not like filtering out all the bullshit that's out there and only allowing in the good stuff. But it's harder than ever. It's harder than ever because
to
it's
filter
everywhere.
all the shit out.
You don't even have to turn off the news. It's like social media, it's plastered everywhere, and you have every side trying to win your vote. It's like, what about being true to you and getting to know who you are? What makes you? What makes you happy? What brings peace to you? And just knowing that, because everything that is out, all the negativity, right? I don't care what it is, whether you're listening to it, whether you're watching it, you're having to process everything you listen to, all of it, whether you think it affects you or not. Trust me, it does. It affects you in one way or the other.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like tuning out everything else and tune into yourself.
Yeah. Well, there was something that happened on, kind of going back to Christmas real quick before we get out of here. But I don't know if you noticed, but I had one of these moments. It was really, I don't know. So we were going over to your dad's house, and I saw somebody on the side of the road. And for some reason, I don't usually give people money when they're on the side of the road or anything. But it was Christmas, and I felt bad. Like here in Arizona, Christmas Eve, it was freaking pouring rain. I mean, there was no dry spot outside. It was soaked everywhere. And we're going to your dad's house, and I see a guy standing there on the corner fucking soaked. And it's Christmas, and we're all happy going to go see family and shit like that. And I was just like, fuck, man. Like, this guy's fucking standing here on the street on Christmas. And at the same time, being who I am, I'm like, well, fucking, they made up Christmas anyway, so, whatever. But at the same time, it's like, but everybody at this time is with their family and with people that they love. I was like, this sucks. And I went back, or right next to where we were getting off, there was a place to eat. And they were open. So I stopped and I grabbed something to eat, and then we went back and gave it to them, or gave it to him. And even when we were standing there, I was looking in the mirror. It fucking broke my heart. Like, the dude was looking for a dry place to eat. And there wasn't a place where he could even sit down to eat the fucking burrito that I got him. I think, like, I saw him and he was like trying to put the cup on his bike or something, and so that he could fucking eat standing up in the rain.
Yeah.
And like, I was just kind of thinking, like, next year, one thing that I want to do is I want to focus more on that shit, like doing something for other people. Like, we're good. The world's a fucking disaster and it's crazy out there, but we're doing pretty fucking good. And if we're doing pretty good, we can, help some other people that need help. It doesn't mean that we have to put ourselves in a position, but where it hurts us, but it doesn't, I think there was something that changed. I don't know what it was. I just, like, my real thought is, like, who gives a fuck? Like, if I give this dude $5 or $20 or whatever, like, who gives a fuck? It doesn't do anything to me. Like, nothing, literally. I don't miss it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So why not? Whatever he's going to do with it, it's the doing it without the expectation, or I wonder what he's going to do with the $5 that it's like, fucking, you know what? And to be honest, I would much rather give them something to eat,
right,
or whatever, but it doesn't matter to me. Like, just here. Yeah. I hope it helps. That's it.
And two, you know, that does something within.
It is.
You know, to help and to give back. And, you know, with the kids, like, there's times where we'll go to Costco and buy in bulk, like, you know, whatever, snacks and something to drink, and you go out and you give it out. And the kids don't get to see it. They don't get to experience. We're there. We went to the store, but they're in the car.
Yeah.
You know, and with Audrey, I think it's so important for us to also lead by example and allow the kids to see. Yeah. Because it will help them to remain humble, and for them to whatever it is, whatever that happens within our body when we give, when we do something.
It's a selfish
somebody
thing almost,
else.
Right? Yeah, like you get a feeling.
Right. But, you know, when we do those things, like with Adriana, when I would volunteer at the group home with the girls, I would take her with me, and she would meet these girls that are living in a group home that are not living with their mom and dads, who don't have all the clothes she has, who doesn't, you know, who they don't have, you know, a bedroom set or the love. You know,
yeah, it's just.
And for her to see that and to talk to these girls, it becomes real. It became real. And I would take her with me when I would go do these speaking, you know, when I was involved to go speak to these mothers, single women, you know, who are, you know, a lot of them were struggling. Some of them were in abusive homes and they're living in shelters, to go speak to them. And because I can relate to them through my mom.
Yeah. You know what? I have a friend of mine that hopefully we can get on the podcast, because we've been trying to go back and forth and get him on a couple times, and it just never seems to work out. But he's a great guy, my friend Spider. Mm-hmm. And one thing, he's a guy that I played football with. And one thing that I've always seen, and I remember, like, he's always been a guy that's in the community doing things. But not only that, like, I would always remember that his daughter, he would have her there. And one of those things, like, if you want, like, there's people that talk about, like, how do I get my kids to appreciate things?
Yes.
Like, they don't know how good they have it.
Yes.
They don't appreciate the shit that they have, and they're spoiled and this and that. Well, I can tell you, I mean, I don't know 100% from, like, facts, but it only makes sense that if you're in a good position in your life and you can afford to give your kids the better things in life, a way for them to understand that not everybody lives this way is to give back to other people and bring them along so that they can see what it's like. Yes. So that they can see that, look, we live in a fantasy land. This isn't real life for everybody, you know, and we are pretty fortunate to get to live like this.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And maybe that's what maybe we can all do a little bit more of next year.
Yes, yes.
So thank you guys for being with us. Happy New Year to everybody. We hope that this has been a great year for you guys, like it's been for us. We hope next year is even better. So we definitely appreciate you guys following us and being with us over the last year.
Yes, thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract podcast,
where we got better
together.
Bye.
Bye.